Good morning. I'm Clara Parker, and today I'll be talking to you about a serious issue, overcrowded prisons. With 14 of these countries at 100% capacity or higher, it's an apparent issue in the world. I believe the way to fix this issue is by taking drug offenders out of prisons. Before I start with the solution, you need to fully comprehend the issue. Imagine being in a 6 by 8 foot cell with not only yourself, but also another person. This is called double celling, and is a result for when a prison is already at 100% capacity, but tries to fit in more bodies. Once overcrowdings happen, this becomes a danger for everyone involved in the prisons. The danger happens because the prisoners outnumber the prison staff. This means it can be harder to break up fights and set dominance. It can also lead to health issues because the prisoners are in such close proximity with each other that it leads to mental and physical health issues of the inmate. It also invites gangs, which then leads to affecting the community. Let's take California, for example. Their prison system got so overcrowded that it was considered a cruel and unusual punishment just to be sent to prison. Another place I tend to think of is the Quezno City Jail in the Philippines. It was built to house only 800, but now exceeds over 4,000 inmates. Talk about some major overcrowding. The solution, in my opinion, is simple. Get the people group that's taking up half the population out of prisons and just take them out of prisons. Let me show you what this would do. Let's say we take the 2,220,300 inmates that are in prisons all across America right now, and we take out the 48.6% that are in for drug offenses. That's right, nearly half the prison population would be cut. 1,079,065.8 to be exact, leaving tons of room for people to live. Let's take another look at the Quezno City Jail again. It houses 4,000 people, but what I failed to mention is the fact that half of those are drug offenders. While taking out the drug offenders would still leave the jail over capacity, it would be a great start to getting everything better organized. Obviously, there are other solutions, one being making more prisons, but a less expensive way is to somehow get the drug offenders out of prisons. Now, I'm not saying we go stampeding towards the prisons with pitchforks, demanding to let the drug offenders out this very second, but I am saying, why don't we start in schools? It's important for people of all ages to be educated on drugs, especially students, because they're trying to figure out who they are. As cliche as it sounds, trust me, I'm 17 and I'm still trying to figure it out. But if you need stone cold proof, according to Addiction Research Institute in Ontario, Canada, 16 is the pivotal year for adolescents who face increasing peer pressure to experiment with drugs and alcohol while being graded a more adult status by their parents. After 18, the risk nearly decreases, and by 22, the risk is nearly gone. And there's a steady increase of teens who have used prescription drugs in the wrong way at least once.
You know, when I was growing up, we had this program, it was just say no, just say no.
People are just saying no, but they're not saying why.
It's like telling a person no and then they go do it.
Sparked my interest on drugs.
I knew that they were bad, and I always heard about this addiction, but I didn't know what it meant.
That's probably the #1 reason why I did drugs in the first place. I just didn't know.
I know that 44 countries use the DARE program, and I'm not bashing that program in any way, but the program's primary focus is in middle school. And while it's a good start, studies have shown that once a person has gone through the drug education courses, the benefits obtained during the course can greatly decrease if not followed up by another program. I believe that if we start in middle school and continue the courses rigorously throughout high school, it will reduce the risk of drug use. And I do believe that this just say no can work. Now, I had the privilege of talking to someone actually in prison for drug offenses, and I asked him how the drug education system was and if he believes it works or if it could get better. He replied, "If someone is willing to practice the teachings, then yes, the drug education courses do work, but just like anything else, there's always room for improvement." Just like previously stated, teenagers are most susceptible to drug use. 44% of teenagers are arrested for burglary because of money needed to buy drugs, and 1 out of 3 teens are arrested for assault because they were drunk or high during the time of the crime, according to Teen Rehab Center. So that would mean 1, 2, 3, you're arrested. 1, 2, 3, you're arrested. 1, 2, 3, you're arrested. So, just like the saying goes, you can't teach old dog new tricks. With that being said, I believe that getting to people earlier in life and teaching them the dangers of drugs and how it can really affect your life, it will reduce the amount of drug offenders, ultimately reducing the amount of drug offenders in prisons. Thank you.